What's up, y'all? Welcome back to another video. So I was messing around with my belts and I thought, why not make a video simplifying range belts slash battle belts, all that good stuff. For this particular video, I kind of wanted to go over my range slash bug out belt, I guess you can call it, and how it's set up, and simplifying for those out there who are looking to get a belt for the first time or maybe a little confused. I hope this video helps. So first and foremost, don't overcomplicate it. The belt and the gun are the most important things. Everything else after that is extra, is just an accessory. Think of it like this. Think of this as going to a frozen yogurt place. The frozen yogurt is the gun, and the belt is the cup or whatever bowl you're going to put the frozen yogurt in. Everything you put in your frozen yogurt, that's all this extra stuff. That's what that is. So some people, you may only need the belt and the gun in the holster. That's it. Some people, that's how you want to rock. That's fine. Some people want a couple more things depending on what they're doing. Usually for me, I like to say that the gear is a direct result of whatever the mission dictates, essentially. So, or whatever is happening or the situation. So for me in this particular setup, it's a range setup that I can also use if there was an emergency or and I needed to grab something and I can put something on really quick. This would be it. So to start off, I'm going to start off with the belt. So the belt itself, I mean, we can have a long video on belts, but there are many different types of belt systems out there. I'm sure if you've been looking, you know. But for this particular setup, I'm using a one piece setup. So this is really pretty much, well, that's a lie. It's two pieces, but there is no second piece that goes in between your belt loop. So the other type of belts, you can have two pieces where one piece is the inner part of the belt that goes in between your belt loops, and then the outer piece is the actual part that sticks to that, and that consists of your belt. So this is one of those. It's pretty much made to be worn over your regular belt, over your whatever it is that you're wearing, and it works great. It has this grippy thing here. It works great. It works great. And the reason I use this for my range setup, my bug out setup, is because first of all, I don't just go to the range in jeans or tactical pants all the time. Sometimes, a lot of times, I'm wearing sweatpants or shorts or whatever, and I want to be able to still have my tools and what I need, and not have to have pants that have belt loops. So that's a big reason as to why I run this setup, because I can run this on top of my regular belt. I can run this with sweatpants, shorts. I mean, I could run this butt naked if I wanted to. So this particular belt is a Tacticom belt. You can get these on Amazon. They're pretty affordable. They're like 40 bucks. Veteran owned company. Very, very good quality. Have had no issues. It's like my third one. So really like how it works. Um, and that's the belt. So I wouldn't pay too much attention to. I mean, if it's a reputable company, if you get one of these belts and it has good enough reviews, you should be fine. So that's for the belt. Now, as far as like when would I use the other type of belt? If I was setting up a battle belt, if it wasn't my battle belt, I would use the other type of belt, the two-piece system, one in between the loops and all that. And the reason behind that is because if I'm bugging out or if I need something really quick, if I have 5 to 10 minutes, this is perfect. I can just put it on, grab what I need, and go. If you give me 30 minutes plus, 30 minutes or an hour plus to get set up, I'm putting on my tactical pants. I'm putting on my best boots. I'm getting ready. Like, you give me 5 to 10 minutes, I'm good. You give me 30 minutes or an hour plus to set up, I'm great. So I'm putting on my boots. I'm putting on my best comfortable tactical pants, all that. So I'm wearing that two-piece system with my battle belt and my plate carrier and all that good stuff. But if I'm just bugging out, something where it happened at, like, for example, in Texas, that let's call it that incident in that school in Texas in Uvalde, parents were had grabbed their own guns and rushed back to the school to rush to school to save their kids because obviously the cops weren't doing their jobs. In a situation like that, I would grab this, put it on, and go. And by the way, They would have had to shoot me live on television to prevent me from going inside that school to try to save my kid. I mean, I'm saying you would have to shoot me on TV live to prevent me from getting inside that school. But I digress. So I really like this. It's very quick and easy setup. It's durable. It works. No issues. Let's not overcomplicate it. So that's the belt first. So remember, we're eating frozen yogurt. The cup, that's the belt. So number two would be if we go, let's go this way. Let's go back this way. When it comes to pouches, mag pouches, I would also say don't overcomplicate it. Everybody has their preferences. I prefer these because it's a clean look. It doesn't take a lot of space. And this particular one, they have these little inner pieces that keeps it very rigid. There's retention there, so the mag isn't flopping out if I need to climb on something, or if I'm doing some type of drill, or I'm going prone and come back up. I'm doing burpees or something. It works pretty well in the way these straps work with the Molly design, and it works really well. These were like 18 bucks. So are there more expensive ones? Yes. Are there more rigid ones that you can get that have straps and all sorts of bungees and stuff? Yes. Do you need them for the range? Not really. I mean, do you even need them if there was an incident you had to bug out? In my opinion, not really. These work really great, but it's really up to you and your setup and what you like. I wouldn't overcomplicate it. When it comes to mags, you can never have enough mags. So I try to have as many mags as possible on my belt without it being too much. And most of the time, if I'm rocking a belt or my battle belt, I have my plate carrier and I try to have as many uh, AR-15 mags as possible on me, as well as pistol mags. So it's really having as much ammo as possible. But at the range, I feel like this is a comfortable amount. Some people don't like these double decker mag pouches because they don't think that the retention works well. I've never had any issues. The only issue I have with these double decker type of mag pouches is that it kind of slides up and down with the strap system. But honestly, when you have it on and I'm doing drills and I'm yanking this thing out to do my thing, I don't feel it going up. It doesn't bother me. I can see how it can bother somebody, but to me, it doesn't bother me. So this, and it's not like it moves around when I have it on or anything like that. The only time I notice that it moves is if I were to slowly try to pull it, and I notice that it goes up. But if I'm doing it really fast, I'm doing drills or whatever, and I just yank on it, it's nothing. I don't feel it. As far as like retention goes, it has great retention. And obviously, in 6 years, 10 years, the retention may not be as great, but for now, it's great. And if I have to replace it, that's fine. You also have to remember that this is what I would consider a budget setup with quality in mind. And this whole setup, keep in mind, I said a budget setup. This whole setup is about, I have to put a number on it, about $430 to set this up. $430. The belt was 40. Belt is $40. And I'll go over the numbers in a second, but $240, and that's a budget setup. My two-piece belt system for my battle belt that has the two-piece system that I mentioned, that starts at like 160. I think I got it from AWS, great company, great belt. Pretty sure that belt starts at around 160 before the extra features and all that. So $40, 160, and this whole setup was, like I said, $430. So you do the math on how much more, like spending $1,000 on a belt setup to me is crazy. Unless you got that stupid money, that's great. But this works. So this was like 18 bucks. This was $50, and it works great. I don't regret the purchase at all. It's pretty great quality. I like the little design on there. And like I said, the retention is really good. I've had no issues with it at all. Second, if we keep moving, this is my multi-tool. I recently replaced where is it? I used to rock a Leatherman, and then I used to rock this Gerber, and now I replaced it with, I got this on Amazon, and this was like 18 bucks, and it's awesome. Came with bits and everything. I'm always doing some shit with the belt or my guns or my rifles or my optics. Always comes with bits, works really well. It was $18. If I ever break it or lose it, I can easily replace it. I have no complaints about this thing. It was actually a pretty surprising buy. And like I said, it came with the get it here. It came with bits. So yeah, it was a good buy. $18. And I like to have a multi-tool on my range belt just because like I said, I don't want to have to go back and forth to the table and get all that stuff. I want all that stuff on me right away. If I'm zeroing something, I want to be able to do it while I stand there and get it done. So I like to have my multi-tool on my range belt. Some people don't see the purpose in it. I do. So you don't have to have this. So that's just me. If we keep moving to the right, move this back here. This is just a dump pouch, you know, and it breathes. I like that it breathes. Some people have the more rigid ones that we're used to, like that we had in the military and all that, and that's fine. I like something that breathes. So, and, I've used, been at the range when it rains, it's muddy and all that. I just want something that breathes, and then it easily rolls up and it's out of the way. So, dump pouch, nothing fancy. This was cheap. I got it on Amazon. It was like, I don't know, it's like $14 or something like that. Super cheap, and it attaches to the belt pretty easily. Doesn't take up a lot of space, and it had a lot of colors, so it's cool. And then directly at 6 o'clock in the back, I have my IFAK. Now, there are many different styles of packs and IFAK setups and all that. For me, I like to have everything within the bag so that and it's a rip away bag, by the way. So like all you have to do is clip this here, and then you pull this and the whole thing just comes out. You can just take it with you. So put it back here. And I really like this setup because everything is inside. Plus I keep the Sharpie here because Sharpies are useful, and I try to have one wherever in case you have to write something on somebody, blood types, whatever, if you have to mark targets at the range, whatever. And as far as like the insides, this particular bag didn't come with the actual medical stuff. I bought that separate, which you can do as well. Some of them come together, some of them don't. It's really up to you. Seen one, seen them all, and yeah, it's pretty basic stuff. I consider it a must have a IFAK or a medical emergency pack on you, especially at the range, and especially if you shoot alone, because you never know, you have an accident or something like that. You are your first responder, especially if you're by yourself. So having this is super important. So yeah, so and then buckle this in the back. The way it buckles is with these straps here, and it's super easy. And I'm gonna open it right here so you can see, which I have my knife mounted on here. I'm always cutting something. I don't want to have to use my knives that are in my pockets. Again, I want everything in a place that's easy to access, and I like the look. It's badass. So I like this setup a lot. And then it just clips like that, and it's out of the way, and it works perfect. It doesn't poke me in the back or anything like that. It's very, very comfortable. I can actually drive in this as well. So let me clip this back. And like I mentioned, this knife, I think this was like 18, 19 bucks on Amazon too. Easy to resharpen, very good quality. This was another one that surprised me. Pretty good. And that goes out of the way. And then lastly, brings me to the holster setup. Now, for the holster setup, especially if you're new, I am rocking the Safari QLS system. Now, when you get a holster, especially a outside the waistband holster, most of the time they'll come with this attachment here, this piece here, and the holster will be the holster here will be already attached to it. A lot of times, sometimes it's not. You got to put it together yourself, but most of the time it's attached, and that's how the holster works. But the setup I'm using is the Safariland QLS setup, which means quick locking system. So, which is these two pieces, this piece and this piece. So when you add these two pieces, it gives you the ability to be able to interchange holsters without having to basically take the whole thing off and put another whole holster on. You simply slide the holster on, clips, and then at the bottom there's these two pieces. You push them up and you can put it another holster on. Now, the holster itself that I'm using is a Safariland. I think it was like 6390, whatever the number is. But it's for the X300, and I think it's for a couple other lights. And this is a level 2. It came with a hood. Took the hood off because I don't need the hood. And for the optic, and then it also came with this protector thingy so that people don't try to take your gun from you, and I don't need that. So this is how it looks. And like I said, so weapon light holster, so it uses that tension. There's different type of holsters. Do you need a level 2 holster at the range? No. You can have a level 1 holster that uses some type of clicking system. What I don't recommend is a friction only holster where it just slides in and out wherever. You don't That's a no-no. People ask me what holster should I get. I usually don't try to recommend, tell people what brand they should buy, but Safariland is so far ahead of the competition when it comes to outside the waistband holsters that I pretty much always recommend Safariland, unless they don't have the holster for your particular gun, which it's rare, but it happens. So they're quite pricey. This was like 150 bucks or whatever it was. The QLS system was like 30 bucks. Amazon sells some, I wouldn't call them dupes, but they sell some cheaper ones. They're like 13, 14 bucks. They work too. I've used them. So if you're trying to save some money, those work too. And the QLS system plus your holster make up the whole system. So, and that makes up the whole belt. Now, like I mentioned before, this whole thing was, take this out. This whole thing was like $400+ and you can be like, oh, how much was it? That's crazy, 400 some dollars. I mean, you'd be surprised how quickly the prices runs up since sending something like this up. The belt was $40. The holster and the holster system, I mean, we're looking at $200 essentially. The IFAK, you're looking at $50 to $80 depending on what type of system you get. This was 18 bucks. You don't need a knife, so we're not even gonna count that. Dump pouch, pretty inexpensive, 15 to 30 bucks depending on what you get. Sometimes it could be more than that if you go fancy. uh Leatherman's or multi-tools, this can get expensive. I mean, this was it 20 bucks, 18 bucks, but I had a Leatherman could set you back 120 bucks, 140 bucks, 160 bucks plus, and the bits are an extra 30, $40. So, and then when you get to these mag pouches, if you go fancy, they can get pretty expensive. This was $50 and this is not that fancy. These were like 25. When it comes to these pouches, the Kiwi pouches and all these pouches, they can get very expensive. So when you add up, 20, 50, this was like 25 bucks with the pouch to hold it. When you add all this up, it's around $400. And again, this is a budget setup. So when you're setting this up, don't feel too bad if you have to get something on Amazon. You do not have to get some of these tactical expensive brands to set it up, especially if you're going to be using this at the range. I wanted to set this up in a way that I can use it at the range and I can also use it if something were to happen and I need to quickly put on a belt and go to work. So it really depends to you. Yours could cost a little bit less, yours costs a little bit more, yours could be significantly less if you don't like all the other fancy, like if you just want 2 mag pouches and you don't even run AR stuff, you don't use a Leatherman or a multi-tool, and you don't need this, the setup could be $200. But I do recommend that if you're getting into guns and if you're shooting regularly and you want to shoot regularly, get a belt. Rock the belt. Whether it's indoor range, outdoor range, rock the belt. Get used to using that holster. Get used to drawing. Practice your draw. Because if something were to happen and we're rocking guns to protect ourselves, you're wearing your gun outside the waistband unless you want to carry it, you know, inside the waistband. But I wouldn't. So practice that. Get used to it. Get a belt. Do the drills. And having the belt helps you have the tools ready, and you don't have to do it back and forth. It's a lot easier. So just wanted to show you guys that setup and simplify it for you guys. I usually don't want to just spit out brands. It's not about the brands, it's about the equipment and how you apply the equipment for whatever the mission is. So you can have great equipment like I have here that lasts a long time and not break the bank. But if you do want to break the bank and go Gucci, you can. Like my battle belt is Gucci'd out. It's way more than four. So it just depends on what you're doing and what your setup is. And you can get there as well. So if you have any questions, put them in the comments below. If you've been doing this a while, this video is probably not for you, but you probably stuck around because this shit is cool and we love talking about it. Drop some tips in the comments. I always recommend people to drop tips in the comments, especially if you've done this a while. The group of us that have done this a while, that do this a while, that can get technical, there's a very, very small percentage. We're a very small percentage of the gun community. So share your knowledge, share your tips in the comment section. How do you like rocking your setup? How your setup looks doesn't matter to you, because I believe that if I feel good, I, I perform good. So like when I put my gear on, I feel good. I look good. I feel good. It makes me tingly all inside, and I'm ready to go. I'm ready to rock. I'm ready to get to work. So some people may say you don't need the knife. Yeah, maybe, maybe not. I do use the knife for cutting shit all the time, but do I need it? Maybe, maybe not. But it looks fucking badass. I love how it looks. I love how it makes me feel, and it's me, it's my thing. So don't be afraid to do your thing and add your twist to a system, and practice, go to the range. So that's the video. I appreciate you guys tuning in. As always, again, leave some tips in the comment sections for the rest of us. Appreciate you guys watching. Do something great. If you're in the path of the hurricane, be safe. Everybody out there, please be safe. Evacuate if you must, and I'll see you guys on the next one. Deuces.